This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
What is philosophy? Introduction. Philosophy is the search for knowledge by applying logic and reason. Socrates claimed that such knowledge was obtainable through interaction with the environment. Socrates, particularly, demonstrated that philosophy dealt with exploring subjects, although such exploration seldom created knowledge about the subject. Philosophy definition: Socrates. Plato's Socratic dialogues convey that philosophy is self-examining, examining other features of existence and acknowledging knowledge limits. In Euthyphro, Plato reveals the nature of philosophy through the dialogues of Socrates as he goes to face the trial against corrupting young men. Socrates asks Euthyphro whether he understands divine things so much that he can accuse his father of doing wicked things. He goes ahead and dares Euthyphro to define pious to him in order that he would apply it in his defense. Euthyphro replies to him that the pious are seeking justice. Socrates seems unsatisfied with this answer and requests him to describe the specific traits of pious actions. Socrates' concern is to find out the specific qualities that lead to an action being pious. In response, Euthyphro argues that pious actions are those that make the gods happy. However, Socrates disputes this definition, noting that the Greek gods were always in conflict. He claims that disputes among the gods resulted from the debates about what was moral or immoral, and actions that could please some gods and annoy other gods were both morally right and wrong, as per the definition. This makes Euthyphro surrender in his efforts to explain the character of piety to Socrates. He does not offer a concise definition, and Plato accomplishes his task of showing that the aspects of piety are unknown. Importance of philosophy in life. Socrates also demonstrates the significance of this lack of definite knowledge in the Apology, as he describes qualities of wisdom. While defending himself against not having faith in the gods, Socrates puts forward that he has faith in spirituality, and it is thus ridiculous to claim that he does not believe in the gods themselves when he believes in their things. Indeed, Socrates spent his entire life trying to come to terms with the words of the oracle at Delphi, that he was the wisest man. Since he did not consider himself wise, Socrates lived in pursuit of finding a person who was wiser than he was. Socrates followed artisans, politicians, and others who considered themselves wise, but after evaluating them, he discovered that they were not wise, although they were knowledgeable. Socrates described them as skilled men and professionals, but they could not prove their knowledge. This directed Socrates to his philosophical thought that the wisest person is the one who claims to know nothing. By saying so, Socrates meant that we could not claim to know something unless we could prove our knowledge of what we claim to know. This makes me think that all matters have room for doubt, and it is through justification that human beings get to understand the truth. A good illustration of uncertainty is clear in the Apology, as Socrates explains why he does not feel sorry for his life. He says that fear of death should not influence our choices because we even do not know what death is, and we should not fear that which we do not know. The value of philosophy. Lastly, Socrates demonstrates the value of philosophy through his answers to those who think that he should stop the practice of examining others and leave Athens. But can you hold your tongue, and then you may go into a foreign city, and no one will interfere with you, and if I say again that daily to discourse virtue, and of those other things about which you hear me examining myself and others, is the greatest good of man, and that the unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates points out that our society lacks something so important because we only concentrate on immediate satisfaction and fail to think about issues deeply. He explains that many people tend to ignore philosophical issues and consider them a waste of time because they tend to focus on providing solutions to questions that cannot have answers. Yet, is it not a contradiction that he poses questions when he thinks that they cannot have answers? What is philosophy? Conclusion. To understand whether an unexamined life is worth living, we must first understand whether life itself is worth living. During happy moments, we all feel that life is worth living, but when the demands of this life overpower us, we feel as if life is unworthy. It is in our lowest moments that we also try to test whether our lives are valuable. At these times, we tend to explore our lives so that we can get the most from it. Therefore, philosophy is valuable, especially for those who choose to think philosophically with an open mind. All we need to do is to select our values and learn the habit of thought and reflection. In conclusion, I will say that philosophy means different things to different people, but it deals with logic, reflection, and questions in search of wisdom. If you want to find more works like this essay on what is philosophy, meaning and importance, head over to ivypanda.com. It has a collection of free samples with thousands of submissions covering virtually all academic subjects. No registration required to access it.